Hey there, you're looking kind of cute. Don't forget to subscribe and check out all my other socials. Enjoy. Isaiah saw his tired reflection in the bedroom mirror. He had just woken up and stood there, his boxers and shirt clinging to his thin body, staring at his worn-out face. His 26th birthday was coming soon, bringing a mix of emotions and a strong desire to face a truth he had kept hidden. He could still remember, as if it were a special feeling, the first time he knew something was different. At 5 years old, he quietly entered his mother's closet, a place full of soft fabrics. He touched a bright red dress, feeling the sunlight shine on it like something special. For a moment, he felt peaceful, until, "Why are you in here?" his mother asked. Startled, Isaiah answered, "I just wanted to see—" Before he could say more, his mother interrupted, "Come help me set the table." Years went by with hidden moments. At 8, Isaiah found his mother's makeup drawer. He put on lipstick, leaving pink marks on his lips. He quickly wiped it off with toilet paper before anyone could notice. At 10, he tried on a pair of his cousin's high heels at a family party, only to be caught by his father. "Take those off immediately." The words came out sharp, accusatory. "What's wrong with you?" "Nothing's wrong with me." But even as Isaiah said it, doubt crept in. By 13, the secret had grown too large to contain completely. His parents found a stash of nail polish hidden beneath his mattress during spring cleaning. "We need to talk." His father sat across from him at the kitchen table, hands folded. His mother stood by the stove, arms crossed over her floral apron. "This behavior, it's not normal. I'm not gay." The words tumbled out before Isaiah could stop them. "Then what is this about?" His mother's voice cracked. "Why do you want to paint your nails like a girl?" "I don't know." And that was the truth. Isaiah didn't have words for the feeling that consumed him when he looked at feminine things. It wasn't attraction, it was longing, a desire to embody rather than admire. High school became a masterclass in concealment. While other boys talked about football and girls, Isaiah perfected the art of masculine performance. He joined the soccer team, dated a cheerleader named Monica for 6 months, attended every party where beer flowed like water. But late at night, when the house fell silent, he'd lock his bedroom door and pull out the small collection he'd accumulated. A tube of mascara shoplifted from the drugstore, a pair of pantyhose purchased with trembling hands from a department store 3 towns over, a purple blouse found at a thrift shop and hidden in an old backpack. The transformation always started the same way. First, the clothes, careful not to stretch or tear anything. Then the makeup, applied with unpracticed hands in the dim light of his desk lamp. When finished, Isaiah would stand before his full-length mirror and see someone else entirely, someone who moved with grace instead of the forced swagger he'd adopted, someone whose reflection finally matched the image that lived behind closed eyelids. "You're sick," he'd whisper to the reflection. "You're a freak." But the words never stopped him from doing it again. College offered the promise of freedom. Moving 2 states away for university meant no more worried glances from parents, no more hiding purchases in elaborate schemes. The first shopping trip to Target felt like stepping into another world. Isaiah's hands shook as he placed items on the conveyor belt. A pack of women's underwear, nude stockings, a simple black dress. "Having a party?" The cashier, a woman with tired eyes and bleached hair, barely looked up as she scanned. "Something like that." Back in the dorm room, with his roommate gone for the weekend, Isaiah allowed himself to fully embrace the transformation. The dress hugged in all the wrong places, his shoulders too broad, hips too narrow. But in that moment, it didn't matter. For the first time, he could be alone with this part of himself without fear of discovery. The routine continued through freshman year. Weekends when the dorm emptied became sacred time. Isaiah learned to apply makeup from YouTube tutorials, discovered which styles of clothing worked best for his frame, even experimented with different hairstyles using a cheap auburn wig purchased online. The wig transformed everything. Suddenly, the face in the mirror looked complete, framed by waves of reddish brown that caught the light. "Going home for Thanksgiving?" His roommate, Derek, zipped up a duffel bag. "Nah, staying here. Got a paper due." Your loss, man. My mom makes the best stuffing. As soon as Derek left, Isaiah retrieved the hidden stash from beneath his bed. The ritual had become second nature now, shaving legs and arms, applying foundation to cover beard shadow, carefully lining eyes with black pencil. The auburn wig came last, positioned just right to look natural. That night, emboldened by solitude and 3 beers, Isaiah ventured outside for the first time, dressed as a woman. The purple coat covered most of the black dress, and knee-high boots clicked against pavement as she, and in these moments, Isaiah thought of herself as she, walked through the empty campus. The November air bit at exposed skin, but the cold felt distant compared to the thundering heartbeat in her chest. "Excuse me, miss?" A security guard's flashlight swept across the path. "Campus is pretty empty tonight. You staying in the dorms?" Isaiah's voice caught. One word would shatter the illusion. Instead, she nodded quickly and hurried back the way she'd come, keys clutched between trembling fingers. The close call should have been a warning, but it only intensified the need. Through sophomore and junior year, Isaiah pushed boundaries further. She discovered a club downtown where people didn't ask questions, where the bathroom choice didn't require explanation. Dancing in the strobe lights, auburn hair whipping around her face, she felt alive in ways that Monday through Friday Isaiah never could. "You're gorgeous!" a woman shouted over the music, pupils dilated in the flashing lights. "I love your hair!" "Thanks." The response came naturally now, voice pitched just high enough to pass in the noise. But reality always crept back in. Sunday nights meant carefully removing every trace of polish, scrubbing away makeup until skin turned raw, packing away the clothes and wig in a suitcase, shoved to the back of the closet. Monday morning, Isaiah emerged, stubble deliberately left unshaven, wearing baggy jeans and a football jersey, ready to play the part expected of him. Senior year brought new challenges. Job interviews required suits and ties, discussions of 5-year plans, and career trajectories. Isaiah sat through campus recruiting events, shaking hands with firm grips, discussing software engineering positions with forced enthusiasm. "Where do you see yourself in 10 years? The recruiter from a tech startup leaned forward, genuinely interested. "Established in my field, maybe managing a team." The words felt like ash. Where Isaiah really saw herself involved, auburn hair grown out naturally, a closet full of dresses worn without shame, a life lived authentically. But those weren't answers that got job offers. Graduation came with mixed emotions. The job offer in San Francisco promised good money and distance from family, both necessities for the double life Isaiah had planned. The studio apartment cost a fortune, but it meant privacy. No roommates to hide from, no unexpected visitors. The first year of working life blurred together, days spent coding at a standing desk, pretending to care about user engagement metrics and sprint planning. Evenings and weekends became Isaiah's real life. The auburn wig gave way to growing out natural hair, aided by biotin supplements and careful styling. Hormone replacement therapy wasn't an option, not while maintaining the masculine facade at work, but Isaiah learned tricks. Breast forms that looked natural under clothing, waist trainers that created subtle curves, voice training practiced in the car during commutes. "You coming to happy hour?" Brad from the development team poked his head into Isaiah's cubicle. "First round's on me." "Can't tonight, got a thing." "You always have a thing, man. Beginning to think you've got a secret girlfriend." If only it were that simple. The thing involved a reservation at a restaurant across town where Isaiah could sit at the bar as herself, auburn hair falling past her shoulders, wearing the new green dress that actually fit properly after months of careful diet and exercise. What'll it be? The bartender didn't look twice, just another woman ordering dinner alone. "Glass of the house red, please." These moments of normalcy felt like oxygen after holding breath all week. Isaiah savored the wine, the way the waiter called her Miss, the absence of scrutiny or suspicion. For a few hours, she could just exist. But bodies change. 24 became 25, then 26. Hairline started its slow retreat despite the biotin. Muscle mass increased despite efforts to stay lean. The face in the mirror grew more angular, more undeniably masculine even under layers of foundation. "You look tired," Isaiah's manager mentioned during a one-on-one meeting. "Everything okay?" "Just haven't been sleeping well." Truth was, Isaiah spent most nights staring at the ceiling, caught between two impossible choices: continue the exhausting charade of dual existence, or risk everything for the chance to live authentically. The math never worked out in favor of honesty. Tech jobs paid well, but not enough to weather potential unemployment. Health insurance covered therapy, but Isaiah couldn't risk a paper trail that might somehow get back to work. Shopping became an exercise in frustration. Nothing fit right anymore. The styles that once worked emphasized all the wrong features. Isaiah stood in a department store dressing room, struggling with a zipper that wouldn't close over broadened shoulders. "Need a different size?" the sales associate called through the door. "No, I'm good." But she wasn't good. She was trapped between two versions of herself, neither fully realized. The breaking point came 6 months before that 27th birthday. Isaiah attended a friend's wedding as himself. Dark suit, polished shoes, beard trimmed neat. During the reception, watching couples dance, something inside finally cracked. "You okay?" The bride's sister sat down beside him. "You look sad." "Weddings make me emotional." "Tell me about it. When's your turn?" Never, Isaiah thought. Not like this. Not as this person who felt like a costume worn too long. That night, back in the apartment, Isaiah didn't bother with the usual ritual. No wig, no makeup, no dress. Just stood naked before the mirror, studying the body that felt like a prison. The auburn wig sat on its stand, mocking from the dresser. When had this stopped being enough? When had the weekend transformations become a bandage on a wound that needed surgery? "I can't do this anymore." The words echoed in the empty room. But what was the alternative? Coming out meant potentially losing everything: job, family, friends who knew only one version of Isaiah. The stories online painted two pictures: triumphant transitions full of support and acceptance, or devastating losses that left people homeless and alone. No middle ground, no roadmap for navigating the space between. Isaiah pulled on pajamas and climbed into bed. Tomorrow would bring another day of pretending, another performance of masculinity that grew more hollow with each repetition. The closet door stood slightly ajar, revealing a glimpse of colorful fabric inside. So close, yet impossibly far away. Weeks passed in a haze of routine. Work, gym, home, rinse and repeat. The feminine clothes stayed packed away, untouched. Looking at them hurt too much, reminded Isaiah of dreams deferred indefinitely. Even the auburn wig remained on its stand, gathering dust like abandoned hope. "You've changed." Derek, the old college roommate, visited for a weekend. "Can't put my finger on it, but something's different." "Just getting older." "Aren't we all?" Derek raised his beer. "Remember when we thought 30 was ancient? Still got a few years before that milestone." "Yeah, but it comes fast. Before you know it, we'll be married with kids, complaining about mortgages." The words sat heavy. That prescribed life path, marriage, children, house in the suburbs, felt as foreign as another language. Isaiah nodded along, playing the part of a man discussing his inevitable future. After Derek left, the apartment felt even emptier. Isaiah sat on the couch, staring at the closet door. How many more years of this? How many more birthdays celebrated as someone else? The decision came suddenly, without fanfare. Isaiah stood, walked to the closet, and pulled out the green dress. It still fit, albeit snugly. The auburn wig needed styling but looked passable. Makeup applied with hands that remembered the motions despite the hiatus. "I'm still here," she whispered to the reflection. "I'm still me." That night, Isaiah didn't just dress up, she made plans. Research into therapists who specialized in gender identity, calculations of how long savings could last if work became untenable, lists of friends who might understand, might offer support. The plan took shape over following weeks. Therapy sessions scheduled under the guise of general anxiety, Gradual changes, growing hair out again, experimenting with more androgynous clothing at home, small steps toward an authentic life. I've been thinking about making some changes, Isaiah told the therapist during session 3. Big ones. What kind of changes? The kind that might cost me everything, but also the kind that might save my life. The therapist leaned forward. Tell me more about that. For the first time, Isaiah told the whole story. From the red dress at age 5 to the night walks in college to the current suffocating existence. Words poured out like water through a broken dam. I don't want to be him anymore. I never really did. I want to be her, full time. No more pretending. That's a big decision. Have you thought about what that might look like? Every single day. The path forward wasn't clear or easy. Coming out at work meant meetings with HR, potential backlash from colleagues, navigating healthcare requirements. Family remained a question mark. Parents who'd reacted poorly to nail polish wouldn't likely embrace a daughter. But as Isaiah's 27th birthday approached, clarity emerged from the chaos. Living authentically might cost everything, but continuing the charade would cost even more. The woman in the mirror deserved more than stolen weekends and hidden clothes. She deserved to exist in daylight. I'm starting hormones next month, Isaiah told the therapist during what would be their final session as Isaiah. And I've chosen a name, Isabella. It's close enough that people can adjust, but it's mine. How does that feel? Terrifying and perfect. The night before her birthday, Isabella stood before the mirror one last time as a man. Tomorrow would bring challenges. The email to HR, the conversation with her manager, the first day presenting as herself at work. But tonight, she allowed herself to imagine a future where the reflection always matched the person inside. She pulled on the green dress, styled the auburn hair that had grown past her shoulders, applied makeup with practiced precision. This time, when she looked in the mirror, she didn't see a costume or a secret. She saw herself. "Happy birthday, Isabella," she whispered to the reflection. "Here's to the first day of your real life." The clock struck midnight, 27 years old. The transformation was complete, not in the clothes or makeup, but in the decision to stop hiding. Tomorrow, the world would meet Isabella. Some would understand, others wouldn't. But for the first time in memory, that didn't matter. What mattered was the woman in the mirror, auburn hair catching the lamplight, finally free to exist. The journey ahead would be difficult, full of obstacles and setbacks. But it was her journey now, walked in heels or flats or whatever shoes felt right that day. Isabella turned off the lights and climbed into bed, still wearing the dress. Tomorrow required strength, but tonight allowed for celebration. The male clothes could be donated, the beard trimmer thrown away, the performance of masculinity finally retired. In the darkness, she smiled. The future stretched ahead, uncertain but authentic. No more hiding, no more shame, no more pretending. Just Isabella, exactly as she was meant to be. The morning brought challenges, as expected. The email to HR resulted in an immediate meeting request. Her manager's expressions cycled through confusion, surprise, and something that might have been respect. "So, to be clear," he set down his coffee cup, "you're transitioning? Full-time?" "Yes. I've been working with medical professionals, and I'm ready to live authentically." "Okay, HR will need to work out some logistics, email addresses, nameplate, that sort of thing. But from my perspective, as long as your work doesn't suffer, it won't. If anything, I expect it to improve." And it did. Without the constant effort of maintaining a false identity, Isabella found energy she didn't know existed. Code flowed more naturally, problems solved themselves faster, creativity flourished where it had previously stagnated. Not everyone adjusted smoothly. Brad made awkward jokes until HR had a word. Some clients did double takes during video calls. But gradually, Isabella became just another software engineer, notable for her skills rather than her history. The family conversation went exactly as expected. "This is because we didn't raise you right." Her mother's voice crackled through the phone. "We should have been stricter." "You raised me fine. This isn't about you." "How can you say that? Our son is gone." "Your daughter is right here, if you want to know her." The line went dead. Months passed without contact, but slowly, tentatively, her mother began texting. Simple things at first, weather updates, recipe questions. Then, one day, a single word that changed everything. Isabella. Hormones brought their own challenges and victories. Skin softened, fat redistributed, emotions intensified. The physical changes came slowly but steadily, each small shift bringing the outside closer to matching the inside. The auburn hair, no longer a wig but her own, grew thick and wavy. "You look happy," the barista at her regular coffee shop mentioned one morning. "Like, genuinely happy?" "I am." Isabella accepted the latte with a smile. "For the first time in my life, I really am." Years passed. 27 became 28, then 29. Isabella built a life filled with authenticity. New friends who'd only ever known her as herself. Old friends who adjusted or drifted away. Dating remained complicated, but not impossible. There were people who saw her for exactly who she was and wanted to know more. The tech industry, for all its flaws, proved more accepting than anticipated. Isabella spoke on diversity panels, mentored other trans employees, became known for both her coding skills and her advocacy. The corner cubicle became a safe space decorated with plants and photos from Pride events she could finally attend as herself. "Remember when you never came to happy hour?" Brad, now a friend after his initial adjustment period, clinked his beer against her wine glass. "Makes sense now. Had more important things to do. Like becoming yourself, I get it. For what it's worth, you seem way more, present now. Like you're actually here instead of somewhere else." Isabella smiled. He was right. The constant mental energy required to maintain two separate identities had disappeared, replaced by presence and engagement. Life lived authentically, even with its challenges, beat the alternative by miles. The apartment transformed too. Male clothes donated, the space filled with colors and textures that brought joy. The mirror that had once reflected a stranger now showed a woman comfortable in her skin. Not perfect, perfection wasn't the goal, but real. On her 30th birthday, Isabella hosted a dinner party. Friends gathered around the table, sharing food and laughter. Someone had brought a cake decorated with trans pride colors, candles flickering in the dim light. "Make a wish!" they chorused as Isabella leaned forward. But what was left to wish for? The impossible had already happened. The person trapped behind glass for 27 years had stepped through into reality. Every day brought its own challenges, but they were real challenges faced by her real self. Instead, Isabella offered gratitude. For the journey that brought her here, for the friends who saw her truly, for the strength to choose authenticity over safety, for every person who'd paved this path before her, making it possible to walk in heels or sneakers or whatever felt right. "What did you wish for?" someone asked after the candles were blown out. "For everyone to have the chance to be themselves." Isabella cut the first piece of cake. Whatever that looks like for them. The party continued late into the night. Stories shared, wine poured, connections deepened. At one point, Isabella caught her reflection in the window. Auburn hair swept up, wearing a simple blue dress, surrounded by chosen family. The image would have been unimaginable to that scared child trying on his mother's clothes. Yet here she stood, proof that transformation was possible. After the guests left, Isabella stood on her small balcony, looking out at the city lights. Somewhere out there, others struggled with the same questions she'd faced. The same fear, shame, confusion. If she could send a message back through time to that 26-year-old staring at the mirror the night before his birthday, what would it be? That it gets better, but only through choosing truth over comfort. That the losses, and there would be losses, pale compared to the gain of authentic existence. That the woman staring back from the mirror deserves to live fully, not just in stolen moments. "Thank you," she whispered to the night air, to herself for finding the courage, to everyone who'd helped along the way, to the universe for allowing transformation. Inside, the apartment waited. Her apartment, decorated to her taste, filled with her clothes, reflecting her life. No more hiding places, no more secret stashes. Just home. Isabella changed into pajamas, washed off makeup, brushed out her auburn hair. These simple acts, once loaded with guilt and secrecy, now carried the sweet weight of routine. Tomorrow would bring its own challenges: a presentation at work, a doctor's appointment, lunch with a friend who still occasionally slipped with pronouns. But tonight, she could rest in the knowledge that whatever tomorrow brought, she would face it as herself. The mirror reflected one last image before bed, a woman at peace with her reflection. Not because it was perfect, but because it was honest. The journey from that scared boy to this confident woman had taken 30 years, most of them hiding. But the destination made every difficult step worthwhile. Isabella smiled at her reflection, then turned off the light. Tomorrow promised another day of living authentically, of existing without apology, of being exactly who she was meant to be. The scared child who'd reached for his mother's red dress could never have imagined this future. But that reach, that first gesture toward truth, had started everything. In the darkness, Isabella felt gratitude wash over her, for the strength to transition, for the support that made it possible, for every small victory along the way, but mostly for the simple fact of existing as herself. No more costumes, no more performances, no more pretending. Just Isabella, auburn-haired and authentic, exactly as she was always meant to be. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to check out my other socials if you want more content, early access, behind the scenes, and more. All links down below.